For something we all supposedly enjoy, miniature painting can get weirdly stressful. That was one of the threads that kept coming up this past weekend at Fen Model Show. Great event, by the way. Tons of gorgeous work on display, plus seminars and talks with some seriously switched on hobbyists. But underneath all the pigment and polish, there was this recurring question about happiness. Specifically, how we find it, or don't, when we're deep in display or competition painting. Let me be clear, this is going to speak more to the display painters. If you're painting just to get an army on the table, hats off, but I'm not going to pretend that I understand that grind. My jam is painting for the shelf, the camera, and sometimes the contest table. One of the standout moments at Fen came from Jamie, who goes under the name A Man Painting Miniatures on Instagram. He put it like this: when you paint for a result, be it to finish a piece, to show off online, to enter competitions, you're deferring your reward. You're pushing gratification into the future. But if you paint for the love of painting, the reward is instant. You're enjoying it right now, brushstroke by brushstroke. And it's hard to argue with that. But also, maybe it's not that simple, because yes, I love the process, but I also love entering competitions, and I don't find them mutually exclusive. Not everyone's wired that way, and I totally get that. If you're highly competitive, or if you're a perfectionist by nature, those traits might be your worst enemies when it comes to enjoying the hobby. Still, maybe hearing how I approach it might help. Back in September, I decided to make a real go of painting for shows. Before that, I'd dipped into Golden Demon and picked up a couple of pins, so I knew I had a baseline to build from. I entered a local scale model show and walked away with some golds and a best in show. Great buzz, but something felt missing. That missing piece, I think, was community. Later that year, I hit Golden Demon in Essen and SMC in Eindhoven. At Golden Demon, I got a couple of commended cards, same as my previous pins, basically. At SMC, I pulled 2 silvers. Then at South Wales Miniature Open later in the year, I nabbed a bronze, which is a bit of a dip, sure, but by then I'd started to notice something bigger than the awards. I was seeing the same faces, I was having real conversations, and I was making friends. And when I look back, I realised I'd started seeing more of the people that I met at shows than I see of my lifelong mates. This year I've done Salute, where I got a finalist card, MPO, where I got bronze, and most recently Fen, where I got a gold award. Now that variation in the awards, honestly, it just reminds me how subjective judging can be. Different shows, different judges, different criteria. In fact, spicy take when it comes to Golden Demon, some consider it to be a bit of a lottery. And yet I keep entering, not to beat anyone, just to see where I'm at, a personal benchmark. But it raises a weird question. Why are we measuring ourselves at all? Like, what's the point of the prizes? Is the competition actually necessary? Wouldn't it be better if we just showed our work, enjoyed each other's efforts, and skipped the ranking altogether? Would people still show up to show off if there were no winners? In open competitions, you're judged against a standard, not each other. Now that feels healthier, but in the first past the post competitions, it's you versus everyone, which is wild when you think about it, because we're not racing. The work is done before we arrive. There's no buzzer, no final whistle, just that quiet judgment. So again, if we stripped out the competitive layer, would the hobby fall apart? Or would we finally just see each other's work for what it is? Maybe not yet, and certainly not for Golden Demon, but it's changing. Maybe. People might show up for medals and the competitive aspect, but they keep coming back for the people. And that's what happened to me. I thought I was chasing awards, turns out I was just starting to find my community. So maybe the real reward isn't the medal, or even the model. Maybe it's the conversation that starts when you show it to someone else. Maybe it's the things that you learn about the painters. Maybe it's the meals, the drinks, the wandering the cabinets, the seminars, and the hustle and bustle of browsing the vendors. What do you think? Can competition and community comfortably coexist in the hobby? Or are we all just trying to win at being happy? If you've got thoughts about this, let's keep the conversation going. You can jump into my Alex Paints Discord. You can join the Get Good Discord, where I'm often spotted talking absolute garbage. Both of those will be linked in the description. Drop your hot takes in the comments, or even slide into my Instagram DMs if you really want. I'm always happy to chat minis, medals, or mild existential crises. Thank you for hanging out and listening to me ramble about painting, people, and possibly the meaning of life. If you want more videos like this, let me know. Drop a comment, like the video, subscribe to my channel for free, or just shout into the void and hope that I hear, since that's a bit like what it's like running a small YouTube channel anyway. Goodbye for now.